postmodern literature, I've noticed that one of the most prevailing trends is that of the sympathetic villain. I have also noticed a trend in which people tend to begin to confuse exactly why these characters work so well in the context that they're brought up. I've seen many people blatantly say things like Griffith from Berserk did nothing wrong or Light from Death Note was the good guy. And these viewpoints blatantly miss the point as to why these characters are brilliant. The point of these characters having sympathetic backstories is not to justify their actions. It's to give an explanation as to how they ended up in the position that they're in. And that is why these characters are understandable and human and not just cardboard evil monster cutouts. But you can't explain away the actions of Griffith or Light as characters. They both do abhorrent, terrible things. In the case of Griffith, for instance, we see one of his actions, which was that at the eclipse. Spoilers, but he actually sacrifices the entire band of the Hawk. And through the sacrifice, he attains godhood. And these actions he undertakes aren't so unlike some of the things that the Joker from DC Comics has taken in the past. And that's a character that we've seen and most people see as a purely evil character, a sociopath, a megalomaniac, someone who enjoys inflicting pain just for the hell of it. For this, we don't need to look much further than the Emperor Joker storyline, where he does things like eat the entirety of China in a to go box, or kill Batman on repeat every day for shits and giggles. But no, if you talk to the Griffith did nothing wrong crowd, they're unwilling to see his actions as femto as abhorrent just because he started out with the best of intentions.
Sexual harassment is against the law.
And it's much the same with Light, who also has a god complex and routinely tries to become sort of a godlike figure within his own world through his manipulation of the media and his routine killing of what the populace generally sees as a dispensable group of citizens, that being criminals. And through this, he comes off as morally virtuous to the layman in the universe, and at first does have good intentions, but he becomes a megalomaniacal, evil character that just wants to become God and rule the world with an iron fist. He himself takes actions such as murdering FBI agents who are on his trail, and even killing his own father at one point for his own gain. And when you lay bare these truths and compare them to a purely chaotic evil character like the Joker, it really makes you wonder in a vacuum why these characters are seen as somewhat sympathetic. But I think I have an answer for that. That mainly lies in the fact that when we meet the Joker, we meet him as his completed self, for lack of a better term. He's the Joker by the point that we meet him in Batman #1. But we grow with Light and to an extent Griffith through the Golden Age arc, and we come to understand them as people a lot more than we do the Joker. Even though they make a lot of actions and a lot of choices that mirror a chaotic evil character, the by virtue of growing with them and seeing how they ended up that way.
Even if it means sacrificing my own mind and soul, it's worth it.
But to me, that's about as far as it should go. These characters shouldn't get a free pass in the minds of a lot of people just because their backstories are sad. There are tons of real life serial killers and terrible people that actually have sad backstories, but that doesn't mean we should be rooting for them against the police. And in the Death Note community, we see a lot of people rooting for Light against L when he is categorically a serial killer with a god complex. And another thing that aids these characters in endearing themselves to the audience is that in a lot of cases, both of these characters still continue to do what we would see as morally virtuous actions post their fall from grace, such as Griffith helping war refugees by letting them hang out in Falconia, and just Light's general thing of cleaning up the streets from criminals and scaring terrible people into not doing bad shit. But I also don't believe I should have to explain to people that just because you do something morally upright one moment, you then get the agency to go do something terrible to someone else. It's not like losing weight. You can't just you can't just do a caloric equation. You can't just burn off the murder with a light jog to a soup kitchen.
Delete! 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 Delete!
So to summarize my points, just because you have a sympathetic backstory and do good in the world does not give you the right in fiction or in real life to do things that are morally unjust. But anyway, that's enough for today, you guys. This is Seraph. Peace out.